What's up, guys? I'm Jonah Wilhelm, and welcome back to Pro Sports Zone. I'm here with Dawson Berglund, and today we're going to be doing our first video in a series, the scandals that shook the MLB. Today we're going to be talking about Pete Rose's gambling addiction and how it got him banned permanently from the MLB. But before we get into that, let's talk about why this was such a major ban, because Pete Rose was a really good player. He holds 5 MLB records. He has the most career hits with 4,256, most career singles 3,215, most career games played 3,562, 14,053 career at-bats, 15,890 career plate appearances, and he also has a few other major things. He made 17 All-Star games and won 3 World Series, 2 with the Reds and 1 with the Phillies. Now, he also played with the Montreal Expos, but that was only for 1 year before he became a manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Now that we've heard some of his major statistics, I'm going to go ahead and hand you off to Dawson, and he's going to explain how one of the greatest players in MLB history got permanently banned from the sport.
Yeah, so this all started around May 1989 when Special Counsel John Dowd basically submitted a report slamming Pete Rose for his gambling problem, basically, in the sport of baseball. So Pete Rose was gambling against his own team. He stands by the fact that he has never bet against his own team, but rather he betted for them, which is still very shunned in the sport of baseball.
It breaks Rule 21D, which, as you can see on your screen, it says any player, umpire, or club, or league official or employee who shall bet any sum whatsoever upon any baseball game in connection with which the bettor has a duty to perform shall be declared permanently ineligible. So basically what that means is any game that they're connected to, they're not allowed to bet on. So an umpire cannot bet on a team in a game that he is being an umpire for. Any league official, employee, none of them can bet on any team that they are associated with.
Yeah, so Dowd sent the report to Bart Giamatti, who was the commissioner, and he couldn't directly prove that Rose had anything to do with the scandal, but they ended up banning Rose. It was a lifetime ban, and it is still recently, it's still a very big debate in the baseball world, and it's still affecting a lot of people to this day because Rose is such a celebrated player with such a big fall from grace.
Yeah, and one of the major things coming with this ban is he is not allowed to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, which it seems kind of weird given that all his records that he holds, like I was talking about earlier, that a player like that can't even get into the Hall of Fame. So it is still being debated today whether or not that ban will be removed, but it still likely would be a few years if they ever decided to do something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, just think about Pete Rose's career all the way from the 60s to the 80s, and now he's finally getting, or he's not finally getting a ban, but I'm saying he is, imagine just being taken away from the sport that you've done for so long. I mean, that must be insanely difficult, and there's two sides to a coin, and there's definitely two sides to this issue.
Now, believe it or not, Pete Rose's gambling scandal is not the only one that he's been involved in. He's also pled guilty to 2 charges of tax evasion, and he ended up being sentenced to 5 years in a medium security prison, and he was fined about $500,000 because he basically evaded paying taxes on income he received from signing sports memorabilia for fans and that kind of stuff. So yeah, he got in a lot of trouble for that, and yeah, he probably will not get back into the sport of baseball, not just because of his gambling scandal, but stuff like this. This was really a big hit to people who really loved Pete Rose as a player, and yeah, it really was a very sad fall for Pete Rose and his career.
So in 2004, Pete Rose wrote his book, My Prison Without Bars, and it basically talks about his point of view about the whole ordeal, and he wants wants to really get out there that he is guilty of this. He is guilty of betting against his own team, but he also is wanting, like, I don't know, some forgiveness basically for what he did, and it's still very debated whether that gambling is this big of issue. I mean, taken to this far as banning for a whole lifetime of baseball, but we want to hear your opinion on whether Pete Rose should be banned. Pretty much the whole world is still talking about it. So if you have any feedback on this scandal, which rocked the MLB, we'd like to hear it in the comments below, and thank you for watching Pro Sports Zone.
Yeah, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because this isn't the only scandal we're going to be going over. There are tons of MLB scandals throughout the history, and our goal is to cover all of them and let you know about every single one. So please make sure to subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.